like a good matchup tonight.
Yeah, so you can just feel the excitement in the air tonight, Neil. It's going to be a great game.
I'm Neil Joslin along with Steve Burtonshaw, and we'll be covering the ball game tonight play-by-play wise, and hope you're going to enjoy the ball game. This is the fifth ball game of the season for San Juan. They are 4-0 on the year. They've had an excellent season so far. They have beaten the Emory Spartans 20-6. They beat the Monticello Buckaroos 36-6. They beat the Kirtland Broncos 45-0, and last week in Cayenta, they won by a score of 34-6 over the Cayenta Mustangs. So they've done an outstanding job this year offensively and defensively, but tonight they're coming up against what will probably be the toughest opponent so far, and perhaps throughout the whole season, in the Cortez Panthers. The Panthers also come into this ball game with a record of 4-0. They won the first game of the year 51-0 over Shiprock. They won over Kirtland about 37 points a game. They're giving up a little over 7 points a game. The San Juan Broncos scoring right around 34 points a game, and they're giving up 4.5 points a game. So we're going to be back in just a moment. We're going to pause for a couple of messages, and we'll be back to set some of the matchups for tonight's game right after these messages. Welcome back to San Juan High School in Blanding, where the San Juan High School Marching Band has just honored us with a little pregame show and the Star Spangled Banner. And we're expecting a very good ball game. Neil Joslin along with Steve Burtonshaw tonight. And Steve, these two teams match up pretty evenly. They've got both high-powered offenses, good defenses, and as we said before, this could be one of the better ball games of the year.
Listening to your pregame statistics, it sounds like they are a perfect match, Neil.
Take a look at our new goalpost.
We might mention that San Juan does have some new goalposts. Last time we were here against Kirtland, they tore down the goalpost on the north end. And they did put up some new goalposts in the last couple of weeks. The Broncos are back out on the field right now. We spoke about some matchups that we can watch for. Let's talk about the offensive line and defensive line for both teams. For the Cortez Panthers, offensively, they've got Calvin Boggs, 6 foot, 180 pounds at the center. The guards, Tim Duran, 6 foot, 225 pounds. He's a big one, and he's one of the leaders of that team. At the other guard is Jim Bobwines, and he's 6 foot, 185 pounds. He's a senior. The tackles, number 67, Alan Olson, 6'4", 210, and he's a big boy. The other tackle, Mark Cannell, he's 6 foot, 200 pounds, another big one. The tight end is Bruce Ledbetter, 6'2", 180 pounds. So they've got a terrific up front line, a lot of beef.
We've got a forest there on the front line.
And that's going to be a big challenge for the San Juan defensive line of Jason Tate, 6'2", 180. Richie Monson, 6'4", 240. He'll match up well against Alan Olson and Tim Duran. The nose guard, Jason Watkins, 5'10", 155 pounds. He'll be the smallest man on the line there when he's on defense. That'll be a big challenge for him. Eric Laws will be the other tackle for San Juan. He's number 65, 5'8", 170 pounds. And Gary Black, the other defensive end, 5'11", 160. Gary's had a good season. Tonight will be a big challenge for him.
I think Gary can hold his own.
Then when you look at the other side of the coin, when San Juan is on offense, they've got Eric Grover at the center. He's 6'2", 180 pounds. Lauren Cook, 5'8", 140. He'll be the smallest man on the line when they're on offense. That'll be a challenge for him tonight. Robert Mance, the other guard, 5'11", 195. Jeremy Liberton, one of the tackles, 5'10", 195. And Richie Monson, 6'4", 240, the other tackle for San Juan. Jimmy Swenson is the tight end. He's 6'3", 170, but Swenson's been hampered by a sore thumb this week, and we'll see if that has any kind of an indication throughout the ball. Halftime here at San Juan High School, where the Broncos lead the Panthers 8-0 after a very exciting first half.
What a game.
You know, you talked about at the beginning before we went on the air that some of these 45-0 games are kind of boring. You're looking for a very tight game. You can't get much closer than 8-6 at the half. Across the field, we've got the homecoming float for the Royalty. And the San Juan Bronco football team is out on the field to welcome the Royalty. The homecoming queen this year is Angie Adams.
Those are some lovely girls. I'm looking at them through my binoculars. I can't hardly put them down.
We're going to have the announcement now of the attendance. Glenna Johnson, the third attendant, will be escorted out by Robert Mance. Mance had a pretty good first half. He was in a lot of tackles, did some good blocking.
Yeah, he's looking good.
Glenna Johnson, the third attendant.
Second attendant is Shelby Shumway with Captain Tahia Fisher.
Shelby Shumway, the second attendant, one of the cheerleaders for the San Juan Broncos. Not quite in uniform tonight.
First attendant is Kate Hurst, Captain Ricky Monson.
Kate Hurst is the first attendant. If you can hear the PA announcer on the other side, then we apologize for being redundant, but if you can't, then maybe what we're saying is okay. Richie Monson will escort Kate Hurst. And the homecoming queen is Angie Adams, and she's escorted by Stacy Yazzie. And that's the 1985 homecoming royalty for San Juan High School. It's been a pretty festive week here. They've had powder puff football game. They've had some kind of a shaving cream game or something like that they had. They had the alumni assembly this afternoon.
Oh, I hear that was a great one.
I heard you did a good job.
That was fun.
And they also had the homecoming parade this afternoon, and we had a couple of lovely ladies that were helping us out with that. So right now, while we're kind of in the middle of the activities at halftime here, we're going to go back a few hours in time by the magic of videotape. And we're going to show you the homecoming parade. We'll join Lynette Adams and Rosalie Payne in downtown Blanding for the homecoming parade. And we'll be back with the rest of the festivities right after you see the parade. The score at halftime again, 8-0, or 8-6, I should say. The Broncos leading the Panthers. So now we'll go to Lynette Adams and Rosalie Payne in downtown Blanding for the homecoming parade. Are you filming?
Bring on the Indian Club royalty.
Stuart, are you there? You filming? Oh.
We're filming.
Well, I don't. Across the field on the other side now at halftime at San Juan High School, we've got the Indian royalty for homecoming being introduced. Margaret Harrison is Miss Congeniality. We're going to have some stats for you at halftime. Hope you enjoyed the homecoming parade. Lynette Adams and Rosalie Payne doing a fine job for you downtown. That was a good parade this afternoon. You know, they did a good job.
Good. I enjoyed that.
Neil Joslin and Steve Burtonshaw with you here at halftime at San Juan High School. It's been a very festive week. Lots of activities going on for homecoming. And the rest of the homecoming queen are the Indian Club royalty being introduced across the way. Steve, you got some stats for us at halftime. There's a lot of offensive stats to keep track of. How did we do in the first half?
Cortez looking good, running mainly the two backs, Barry and Riffy, both running about 40 yards in the first half, which is, as we expected, good runners. Couple of good pass plays. Caldwell pulls one down for 20 yards, and then Rust, as you know, got the 75-yard TD. For San Juan, some pretty even running from most of the boys. Myers looking good again, averaging 5 or 6 yards a carry. He's got about 32. Fisher with the 43-yard run of his. and Fisher's received the 2 passes. So just like we said before the game started, it's looking real close as far as yardage and so forth.
Well, you know, we talked about this before. The passing game of San Juan, that's been their big weapon all year long. And tonight they just haven't used that very much. A couple of times when they've tried, the defensive line of the Cortez Panthers has been in really tough. They've got a good defensive line. And I think this is probably the best test that the San Juan line has had all year. And it could be the toughest team that they're going to face. Durant, Olsen, you know, and the rest of the front 4 and the linebackers coming through there. That Dave Dunn, 6'3",
yes,
in the middle linebacker position. He almost had that 1 interception that could have gone for a touchdown. And not many surprises from Cortez. They've done pretty much what we thought they were going to do. We knew that Story could throw. That's how they got their touchdown. We knew that Riffey and Berry were excellent runners, especially to the outside. And that's where Berry made a lot of his runs. And so it's been a pretty predictable game so far, except for the absence of the passing game on the part of San Juan. But both teams doing very well offensively. Morris Swenson has got to be really pleased with the way the Broncos are running the football.
That's right. The ground game's looking great tonight.
And, you know, anytime you get a ground game going, your offensive line is getting off the ball. They're opening up the holes. The whole offensive line has been getting off the ball. And they've had their good moments. They've had a couple of times, 1 or 2 drives that were stalled. But all in all, it's been a good ball game on both sides. A couple of turnovers on the part of the Panthers. The interception by Fisher and the fumble down at the goal line, which was really a heartbreaker. A lucky thing for the Broncos, they could have been down 13 to 8 at halftime. But I'm looking for a second half that's going to be pretty much the same. And I kind of look for the Broncos to try and throw the football a little bit more. They know they can run, but they haven't been able to score except for the first time. And Cortez has shut that running game down. They've bent, but they haven't broken. And I look for San Juan to try and throw again in the second half, as they did against Monticello when they came out in the first half and didn't really have the great first half, but they came out in the second half and really threw the ball in the air. And we might look for some more aerial attacks against the San Juan Broncos by Story. A good arm. That 75-yard pass was rifled. That was a beeliner. And he's got a heck of an arm for a junior. He's coming back next year. It's got and in fact, Berry and Riffey are coming back next year too, so the whole backfield is coming back. Well, we've got halftime. We've got a few minutes left to play, left to go before we resume action. 8-6 is the score. And so we're going to pause for a few messages, and we'll be back in a few minutes to get ready for halftime, have the opening kickoff of the second half. And we'll remind you again, the score at halftime, 8-6. The Broncos leading the Cortez Panthers.
There's another pretty girl and another pretty car.
Lots of pretty girls and pretty cars. It's Homecoming. I'm Neil Joslin and Steve Burtonshaw, along with Steve Burtonshaw at Homecoming. It's halftime here at San Juan High School, and we're going to have some activities on the field. The drill team, the San Juan Bronquettes, are going to perform for us, and a couple of things we'd like to remind you about while we're waiting for the drill team to start. And again, one of the things is that at the end of the game, we're going to be awarding an offensive and defensive player of the game award. And we have been fortunate to have the services of Navajo T-Shirt and Design and Blanding. They're going to be awarding T-shirts to the 2 players of the game. And that's a very generous token on their part. Navajo T-Shirt and Design right here in Blanding, Utah. And we'd also like to remind you that if you're in need of some reshaping of your body and perhaps some exercise, I'd like to remind you that the jazzercise classes are going on right now in Monticello. They have jazzercise classes at 6 a.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And for the 9 a.m. classes on those days, they've got a babysitter available for you mothers with small children. And they've got classes at 6 p.m. on Monday, Tuesday and Thursday. All classes for Jazzercise are held upstairs at the Body Salon. You don't have to be a member of the Body Salon to participate in the Jazzercise classes. All you have to do is come out and participate. The first visit is always free. And for more information on Jazzercise classes, you can call Janine Pena, the instructor. Her number is 587-2700 in Monticello. That number again, 2700, 587-2700. Janine Pena. And you've done something for somebody else all day long. Why not give yourself an hour and try Jazzercise, see what it can do for you. Janine Pena, again, the number 587-2700 for the Jazzercise classes in Monticello. The San Juan Bronquettes look like they got some new uniforms for this homecoming activity.
These girls look a little younger. I wonder if these are the
Are they the
junior drill
Bronquettes?
team.
Maybe they're the junior drill team. I'm not sure. They never tell us what's happening.
I recognize some of them. Yep, it's the juniors.
The Dancing Stars junior drill team is on the field. And so part of this homecoming activity at halftime. We would like to remind you that this game and the homecoming activities are being brought to you in part by these generous sponsors: the Blanding Mercantile, Cortez Furniture and Carpet, Parkway Texaco in Monticello, the San Juan Pharmacy in Blanding and Monticello, the Patio in Blanding, Motor Parts in Blanding, the San Juan Theater, and Patterson Glass and Screen in Blanding. And we like to thank all of our sponsors for helping to make these games possible and giving us the opportunity to bring you exciting high school football right here on Blue Mountain Cable Channel 13 every week.
They're all great people. We love them.
Homecoming is quite an event here at San Juan High School. Lots of things happening, lots of activities at halftime. But don't forget, we do have a second half of football coming up right after the activities. And if it's anything like the first half,
it's going to be a great one.
You know, the thing about it is both of these teams are second half teams. Last week against Aztec, the Panthers were down 7-0. And they came back in the second half and outscored the Aztec team 37-0 to win 37-7. So they've got a powerful offensive team in the second half. And I'm sure right now Coach Larry Archerbeck is trying to pump some enthusiasm into his team. Morris Swenson, on the other hand, is probably doing the same thing to the San Juan Broncos. I'm sure he would like to see a few more points on the board. This is the fewest points they scored at a half the whole season. You know, the fewest points they scored against anybody was the game against Emory. And they had, well, I guess they did have about an 8-0 lead at halftime against Emory, something like that. But against a team like Cortez, you'd like to put a few more points on. I'm sure he's going to be trying to come up with some strategy. And I still look to see a little more passing by the Broncos in the second half.
We haven't seen that little option play that they've sneaked in a time or two, which has been good for the Broncos.
Not yet. I talked to Morris Swenson this week, and he asked him if he showed Cortez anything last week against Cayena, because he knew the Panthers were going to be down there scouting. He said he tried to show him as little as possible.
Probably wise at this
So
point.
the second half, I think both teams are going to be bringing out all the stops, and there's going to be some tricks that the Panthers are going to pull that I'm sure we haven't seen yet. They've got an explosive offense with Riffey and Barry in the backfield, along with Story at the quarterback. Well, the San Juan Bronquettes now being introduced at midfield. They did a good job in the parade this afternoon.
Yes.
Next week, the San Juan Broncos are going to be in Moab to take on the Grand County Red Devils in another tough conference game. Red Devils haven't been that good this year. They've had their problems, but every time they face the San Juan Broncos, they get up for the occasion. I'm sure it's going to be a good ball game. We, on the other hand, are going to be in Monticello next week, and hopefully the weatherman will cooperate. We're going to be in Monticello for the Monticello Monument Valley football game. Steve will be taking a vacation, and we're going to have Ken Adair in the booth with us. helping us with the color commentary. The Cougars from Monument Valley in their second year as a football team. They have been in existence for 3 years. They played football for 2, and they're going to be in Monticello next week. The next time we'll see the San Juan Broncos will be the last game of the season when they take on the Kanab Cowboys, and that's a late afternoon game. 6 o'clock is the starting time. That'll be on a Thursday. That's going to be a good ball game too. Cortez, or Kanab that is, always plays tough when they come against the San Juan Broncos. The Panthers are on the field right now, getting a little bit fired up.
The dancing stars, the junior drill team, the San Juan Broncos dancing drill team, and the San Juan Husky cheerleaders will now present a dance to the homecoming thing, Take the Lead.
All right, we're about ready to actually see them perform. They have introduced a whole slew of girls out there, and sure they're going to entertain us very well. The Broncos coming back out on the field right now. The homecoming theme for San Juan this year is Take the Lead, and the Broncos have taken the lead. Now we'll see if they can keep it. And we're just about ready to see some entertainment here from the Junior Stars drill team, and maybe not. The referees are saying, let's get this game going. So maybe we won't get a chance to see any performance. The clock is winding down. We're under a minute left in the half.
Maybe we'll have to suit up the drill team here. Those poor little girls are probably freezing to death. They've been standing there 10 minutes.
It's starting to get a little chilly. The wind is picking up a little bit from the south. That could cause some problems for the passing game. But if it sounds like we're lost for words, we're really not sure what's going on. Now we're starting to get a little entertainment. So sit back and enjoy the little dance here. Okay, well, that was a wrap-up on the halftime ceremonies here at San Juan High School. And we're about ready for the, well, what are we doing here? A little added attraction. Are they coming to take you away, Steve? If you... Ah! The grand arrival of the mascot.
We wondered where Otenbo was.
Well, we're just about ready for the opening kickoff of the second half, and with the score 8-0 at halftime, or 8-6 at halftime, we will be back in just a minute with the opening kickoff right after these messages.
To you today, the San Juan High School Homecoming Parade for 1985. This is Lynette Adams
and Rosalie Payne
sitting on top of the Party Red Food Town to do the commentary today on the parade and to tell you a little bit about the activities that have been going on at the high school this year.
Would like to start out by mentioning the San Juan High School student body officers this year. President is Kuhia Fisher.
Vice President is Richie Monson.
Secretary is Shelby Shumway.
And our Assembly Chairman is Angelin Adams. These kids have pulled a super student council together to start a real good, exciting year, and things are looking really sharp at San Juan High School.
There's a lot of excitement at San Juan High School this year. The kids are really looking forward to a good year.
Looks like to start our parade today, Rosalie, we have the Blanding City fire truck driven by Gerald Black, and looks like he's got some little blacks there. They're 3 children, aren't they, darling? We also have today our...
Looks like the support of the Blanding City Sheriff, Tom Austin.
It's our new city police chief, supporting the kids and leading the escort today. Tom, thanks for your support.
Here comes our first entry in the parade, the San Juan High School Band, directed by Mr. Robert Bowering. We'd like you to notice that they have new band uniforms this year.
They do look sharp, don't they?
The band would like to especially encourage everyone to come out to the homecoming game early this evening. They're going to do a special pregame show.
Their director is Mr. Robert Bowering. He's been at San Juan High School for many years. He does a super job with these young people, and when they come to perform for you, you've got to know they've got a good performance. Let's stop and hear them play.
Okay.
That was the San Juan High School fight song, Dig Right In. Broncos, you look good, you sound great.
Officers of the band this year are Presidents Davy Black and Julie Eberhard, Vice Presidents Stan Lyman and Sheldon Lewis, Secretaries Susie Black and Katrina Shumway. Good job, band members. The band will be representing San Juan High School this year at several musical festivals in Utah and Colorado.
Looks like coming down the road now, we have our homecoming royalty for 1985. Four very beautiful young ladies. These young ladies have been picked by the San Juan High School Bronco team. This year we have 3 attendants and our queen. They're riding a float that was put together by Rosalie Payne,
Lynette Adams, Kaylin Higgins, and Jerry Adams. The 3rd attendant this year is Glenna Johnson, daughter of Sandy Johnson and Sandra Johnson.
Our 2nd attendant is Shelby Shumway, daughter of Eugene and Catherine Shumway. And our 1st attendant is Kate Hurst, daughter of Scott and Irma Lee Hurst.
The homecoming queen this year is Angie Adams, daughter of Jerry and Lynette Adams. Angie's a senior at San Juan High School this year.
The float is being pulled by the driven by Jaron Adams. Looks like Keith Black has donated his Lincoln Continental. Thank you, Keith. Looks we also have a Jana Lee Brown and Eric
Grover. The next float up is the 7th grade float. Their theme this year is, yes, indeed, we all agree that San Juan Broncos will take the lead.
The float is being pulled by, looks like
Mr. Klein Carroll, I believe.
Klein Carroll is driving. I believe the car belongs to Don and Shirley Jack. We appreciate their support. We've got us a little Bronco boy. We're sorry we don't have a name here. And also Cheryl Arthur on the float. Take the lead. Good job, 7th grade. We just made a mistake. Somebody lined up wrong according to the papers that we have received. Please forgive us. That is the 8th grade float.
Our next entry is a truck driven or sponsored by the FBLA from San Juan High School.
This is an organization that puts in a lot of time, a real supportive organization of many school organizations. A lot of signs goes up to every department, drama, music, the athletic departments, wishing the kids well in all of their endeavors, each one of their competitions, and we appreciate the support of this group.
Would like to...
Our officers are Valerie Shepard, Katie Palmer.
Stop.
Jennifer Smith.
We've got the FBLA officers, Jens Nielsen, Glenn Guyman, Jennifer Smith, Michelle Ivins, Tammy Olson, a couple of the members, Vince Machunas, and Tracy Black, it looks like.
Look, a real sharp pickup here, take the lead. The advisors of this group are Liz Sharp and Rosalie Payne.
No, I'm off. The next entry of the San Juan Bronchettes dance and drill team. Virginia Blake's their advisor. Alicia Harris is president. Stephanie Blake is drill mistress. Corey Lyman is the assistant drill mistress. These girls spend a lot of time and effort preparing dances and marches that they can perform at the half times. San Juan Bronchettes have been an important and enthusiastic spirit-building organization for many years. They were originally organized as a pep club for the past several years they've been known as the Bronchettes. They've been performing as a group, presenting halftime dances and entertainment at different athletic events.
Don't they look sharp in those beautiful blue and gold uniforms? These little gals put in a lot of time. They meet every morning at 7 o'clock, at least 3 times a week, and often 4 and 5 days of the week to put together some real nice performances. You need to come and see them at the game tonight. They'll be performing along with the cheerleaders and a junior drill team. Be well worth your time just to come and see the activities that'll go on at the game besides a good Bronco shutout.
The San Juan Bronchettes just performed to the theme song for this year's homecoming parade, Take the Lead. The next entry is the Indian Club Royalty.
Our officers for Indian Club this year are Matthew Jims, Stephen Hatch, Chester King, and Margaret Harrison. The advisors to the group are Mr. Hostler and Mr. Smith.
The Indian Club this year will be sponsoring a big Indian Week in the spring. We're looking forward to that.
We have our royalty here.
Arlene Morris is the Indian Club Queen. Stephen Hatch is her escort.
Very beautiful, Arlene.
Where is the code of conduct?
Our next entry is apparently more Indian Club royalty, but I don't have any names. I'm sorry. We have the San Juan High School cheerleaders
to perform for you here. They're in Jeeps.
Glenna Johnson, the head cheerleader, is not able to perform with them since she was in the Homecoming Royalty, and also Shelby Shumway, one of the other cheerleaders, is in the Homecoming Royalty this year.
And she is our assistant head cheerleader this year. So this group right now for your performance is under the direction of Mickey Holliday. We appreciate her stepping in and leading out with these girls. They'll perform for you. Looking good, cheerleaders, looking good.
Those girls meet up at the high school every morning at 6 o'clock for early morning practice, put in a lot of hours that a lot of people don't know about.
Looks like the cheerleaders are being escorted by Stacy Yazzie and Richie Monson.
Lauren Cook, Mike Bowers. Good job, cheerleaders.
There's no Indian.
We've got some more of the Indian Club royalty, Linda Harrison and Chester King. And also Margaret Harrison is another member of the Indian Club royalty. I don't know who she's being escorted by.
You'll have to forgive us. We're first experiencing here. Everybody was turning in information on floats and all parade entries, and apparently we've miscommunicated somewhere. We've got some beautiful little gals and don't even know who to give credit to.
The next float coming up is the 9th grade float. Cheyenne Johnson was the float chairman.
I believe that's a little Harrison gal that lives.
Okay, this is the 9th grade float. Cheyenne Johnson is the float chairman, and she was helped by Chris Yoakum, Leanne Lovell, and Gippy Red, who are the class officers. Class advisors are Mr. Thornton, Mr. Mance, and Mr. Muir.
It's a very clever float. Notice the big hand reaching out to take the lead.
Chris Yoakum, the president of the freshman class, told me they used 8,700 napkins to make this float.
Reach out and take the lead, Broncos.
Good support from the freshman class.
Some of our activities that have been going on this week, we had a dress-up day. Just everybody really looked sharp in the school. All the students went all out to dress up. We had a nerd day. It was fun to even see the faculty and get involved in these activities with the kids. It's good to know that while they're teaching, they're still supporting them in their activities.
Would like to congratulate the senior boys this year. Won the aftershave volleyball match against the juniors on Monday evening, but then the junior girls retaliated and won the powder puff game on Tuesday evening.
We've got a little entry here. It's Jeanette Brown. She wanted to clown around. She enjoys being involved and putting some smiles on some little kids' faces. Thank you, Jeanette. Appreciate your support and wanting to be a part of the homecoming activities today.
The next float, sponsored by the sophomore class, says aim high and take the lead. A lot of balloons on this float, it looks like.
We'd like to mention here the truck. The truck is being driven by one of the advisors, Mr. Jerry Adams. The helium and balloons were donated to the sophomores by Scotty's Chimney Sweep business. We'll clean whatever suits you. Scott Davis, we appreciate your support and appreciate that donation. Isn't it great to know that the community, the businesses are behind these kids and wishing them well and success for their school year?
It really is. It looks like we have Tim Workman and Scott Polson riding that float in support of the sophomore class.
Okay, the next entry is Drama Club supports the Broncos in taking the lead. I got to tell you, that's a wild group on that truck, and I'm thrilled to death to be the sponsor of the drama department. The truck is donated and driven by Eugene Kressler. We've got a bunch of costumes, kids that just like to have fun. Looks like we have Shelley Hughes, Annette Carroll, Heidi Worth, Kelly Black, and Jolynn Grover, and little Stacy.
The next entry is the PTA. We'd like to announce that the PTA is going to be having a drawing for this quilt. You can join the PTA with just a $250 membership fee.
The officers this year are Sylvia Stubbs over the junior high and Cease Tippett over the high school, in collaboration with Jeannie Palmer as their secretary, doing a great job supporting.
We're now being entertained by the San Juan High School, or Junior High School band. Again, this is directed by Mr. Robert Bowering.
They sound good. They've got an organization here of officers.
Okay, here it is. President is Tanya Hostler and Eric Johnson. Vice President Mike Bowering and Tammy Harris. Secretaries Janae Shumway and Natalie Brown. There's 82 members in this junior high school band, and this is their first marching experience. They're looking really sharp.
The next entry is our UNDC float. Their theme, Go San Juan Broncos on one side and Trample the Panthers on the other side.
Miss San Juan, Navajo, Utah, Rose Claw, and also her first attendant, Darlene D., are riding this float. And some other people, I don't have any more names on them.
Rose Claw and her first attendant, Darlene D., will be riding on this float. This float won the Chairman's Award, which was first place in the Navajo Nation Fair in Window Rock, Arizona. Congratulations. Beautiful, beautiful float.
Again, it's nice to see the businesses are supporting the high school. We really appreciate that.
Very beautiful young ladies on the float.
Utah Navajo Development Council, or UNDC, is a private nonprofit organization that's been providing community services for the Navajos living in San Juan County since 1971. I just got hit by a piece of candy.
Thank you, UNDC.
Thank you, UNDC.
We have coming through our parade right now 4 of our cross-country girls.
Looks like Marietta Scott.
Can't tell. They're really tracking down the road.
Mrs. Adams, we might put in just now that the 9th grade class, the one with the hand, was the first place float.
Very good. Don't blow it. Broncos take the lead. We've got a very sound-breaking float coming through right now.
Looks like this is sponsored by the junior class, Luana Eubanks, and I can't tell who the other person.
Shonda Monson, stuffing the cannon to shoot it off again.
Getting ready to blow the Panthers off the football field. In the war between drinks, Broncola takes the lead. This float's sponsored by the senior class.
Senior officers for this year are Eric Grover, President, LaDon Lovell, Vice President, and Stacy Guyman, Secretary. Their advisors are Richard Guyman, Alton Hassel, Ruth Brown, and Tony Wojcik.
Looks like we have a can of Broncola, the #1 drink at Blanding, Utah.
With a crushed can of Panther.
Lynette, it looks like this is the 7th grade float that we thought we had earlier. Coming up, this is being driven by Coach Royer, Shani Bayless.
The Broncos.
And then we have a float. I'm not sure who this is by.
I believe it's sponsored by Thin Bear.
Looks like it might
some
be
of their
some
arts and craft. Beautiful Navajo rugs.
There's a sign on the back. Maybe we can see who it is for sure. No, this is the Indian Club float.
And we have
last but not least our mascot.
our mascot.
Mascot this year is Julie Slade or Angie Adams, depending upon the evening. They do some great entertainment, halftime, performing at assemblies, bringing some life into the crowd at the games.
We have escorting the end of the parade again, our fine officers of Blanding. Thank you. We appreciate your support, guys, and we'd like to invite everyone, please come out and support the Broncos tonight in their big homecoming game against the Cortez Panthers. It's going to be a good game. There's a lot of tough statistics coming in from the Cortez Panthers, but nothing too big for the Broncos to conquer.
We'll see you later.
Well, that makes